Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Engadget Podcast live stream. I am Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe. Joining me today are co-host Devendra Hardwar. Hey.
Hello.
What's up, Dev?
Hello.
We've got UK Bureau Chief Matt Smith joining in with a warm cuppa Joe, cuppa Jill.
Do you say cuppa for coffee?
Dr.
I thought it was just
Cup O in America, maybe, but yeah, you can't kind of fuse the streams like that, Cher. Yep. Hi.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. Cross streams all the time. And also here with us is podcast producer Ben Elman. Hey, Ben. Ooh.
Hello.
Hey, Ben. So yeah, if you're new here, welcome. This is the behind the scenes look at the recording of the Engadget Podcast, which hits platforms like Spotify, iTunes, etc. Either later today or early tomorrow. And so we're recording the audio version of this show. So we'll be doing segments where we're just trying to be as clean and tight as possible. You know, and we won't be able to talk directly to the audience, but in between we'll take segment breaks, and also you might see us fumble, you might see us make mistakes and go back to take lines. But yeah, no, we're here for the interaction with you in between those segments. Speaking of, we got people in the chat. We've got Rob Langley, we got George Ugbeatty. I hope I pronounced that right. Kavi Raj. Rob Langley is also in Lincoln, UK. So we always love to say hi to everybody here on the chat whenever we can. And then today we're talking all about MWC 2023. It's the Mobile World Congress. It's happening in Barcelona, Spain. This is the first year in a while, I guess, that I've not gone. I don't know. It's not the first year I've not gone, but it's the first year where it kind of made sense to go, but I didn't go. You know,
yeah.
Matt, are you getting any
active
FOMO?
Choices like Computex is happening, but we're
not going.
Go.
Yeah.
I mean, you get FOMO for not getting to go to Barcelona. Yes. At least I think this year relative to last year, there's things worth talking about. And there's one product in particular I wish we were there to see.
Yeah.
But one product does not make a trade show attendance, I don't think.
No.
But yeah, I think we'll get to that later. But yeah, I was talking to Devendra before we kicked this podcast off. And the MWC is such a show of the curse of phones that will never make it to the US.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We're going to see a lot of that. We're going to talk about all of that later today. Also, if you're on the watching the live stream and there looks like a weird phantom orb near me, I'm not haunted. It's just my mic. I have a new mic stand now.
We're all living in just blur zone. This is our lives now.
Look at what it does to my hair.
Okay, so if you've been around as a chat member for a while, you know what's going to happen. If this is your first time, one of the things that we need to do at the beginning is sync all the files before we actually get into recording. And you can sync at home. I'm going to count down from 3, and then at the end of 3, we're all going to make like a clap or a snap fingers, and you can put something in the chat. Put a clap emoji in the chat if you're enjoying what's happening so far. So, gonna count down from 3, 2, 1, and some silence, and I'll let you know when the silence is over. Okay, silence over.
I see Rob Langley joined in on the clap.
Thank you. Everybody can do it.
Yes, everyone can.
You're
everyone
all clapping in spirit.
Kavi did too. Kavi even with the 2-3 timer and then clap, 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 clap. Actually, a very good representation of what happened.
Everybody hit the thumbs
George
up,
also did.
So more people can see us also.
Oh yeah.
And let's get into it.
Yes. Hi also to Ankit Koikami. All right, I'm ready to go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Engadget Podcast. I'm Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe.
I'm Senior Editor Devendra Hardwar.
And today we're talking all about that big show going on in Barcelona that you may or may not have heard about. It's called Mobile World Congress. And a lot of interesting mobile devices are coming out of there. We'll take a closer look at some of them this week. And of course, we have some other stuff to talk about as well. We've got more AI news, more meta news. It's just stuff keeps going on. So stick around. It should be a good episode. As always, if you're enjoying the show, please subscribe on your podcast catcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes And hey, if you have time on Thursday mornings at about 10:30 a.m. Eastern, we usually do a live stream of the recording of this podcast on the Engadget YouTube channel. We can take your questions, talk to you live in between segments. It's a fun time to just hang out and chill. So come join us then. Okay. So, Devendra, you and I normally every year around this time before the pandemic, we would be doing some Mobile World Congress coverage. I think you've also come to Barcelona.
I've gone a couple of times. It's not a show I go to as much. That is mainly you, and was like Chris Velasco and people doing more phone stuff. But that is a fun show. Like going to Barcelona is good. The food is good, and the vibe is interesting because like you're talking to like a lot of European folks you don't normally see at many of the U.S. events. So yeah, it's always
Speaking of European folks, it's also a good time for me to go hang out with our UK team. And joining us to talk about NWC this episode is UK Bureau Chief Matt Smith. Hey, Matt.
They're not part of
Hey,
Europe
Sherlyn.
anymore.
Yeah, you're talking.
They're not
talking,
technically. I'm sorry.
We're still in Europe, the continent, I guess. Kind of.
Exactly.
You're talking to the one member of the UK team that speaks zero Spanish. So obviously, I'm the expert.
Wait,
you speak a little.
Oh.
Anytime we go,
I can say I don't need it at this time, and that's the extent of my Spanish.
I can say here is good.
That sounds German. That sounds like German.
It's good. It's good. No, me and Matt are usually neighbors. We share same floor or something room in Barcelona, and we have tapas, and it's a good time, and I miss it. I think that's the reason a lot of us are good friends is these shows. But anyway, enough of me waxing nostalgic, I guess. This year, usually at MWC, we see phones, but in the years past, I think, especially in the last 2 years, it seemed like a less and less interesting show. Nobody really launches a big deal phone there anymore. I think once Samsung stepped away from that show as its launch pad for the S series,
Samsung's always like after CES, but before Mobile World Congress. That's our time.
Yeah,
Samsung time.
They're like our time to shine. And then it used to be like LG would use that event, right? Sony would launch a new phone, but LG has died. Sony is just Sonying along. So what are we left with? We're left with a lot of phones from other countries, a lot of phone brands from specifically Asia, like China. And so this year, as has been the case for the last few years, we've got Huawei / Honor. Honor is no longer related to Huawei. We've got Oppo, Vivo, Realme, all launching phones. These are names that you don't really hear a lot about in the US.
Some of which are banned in the US, it turns out.
Oh yeah, quite a few. Yeah. Xiaomi too. Yeah, I forgot about Xiaomi. Matt, again, we've asked you this before, but given LG and like Sony don't really do big or phones anymore, what's the sentiment around these phones now in the UK?
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like a lot of these companies, it's also worth mentioning OnePlus kind of showed stuff off, and we'll get to that a bit later. And that's probably like a company, at least that US readers and YouTube viewers will be aware of. But yeah, a lot of these phones, they often come with like a trick. They'll come with something that you won't see in the major devices from Samsung, Apple, and the rest, or Google. We'll definitely get into it because we repeat the same kind of trick this year for sure. It's often like fast charging or wireless charging or some camera nonsense or some weird material use, which are all kind of accurate of this year's MWC
what
as
about
well.
fast charging?
Yeah.
How about that?
Exactly.
Fastest charging you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
As soon as you pick up the charging cable, it's already charged. That kind of level of speed.
Oh my God.
It's getting insane. Like I'm sure we'll dig into it later. But in the broader swathes of it, like even in the UK, it's not. I don't think it is a major field for these Chinese manufacturers. I know countries like Spain and France. I think a lot of companies like Xiaomi clean up. Even like these kind of spin-offy companies like Redmi and Poco. They often clean up in the kind of mid to lower spec smartphone area. And so these are the kind of halo devices for these companies as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. They also probably do really well in like parts of Asia, right? Like India, China. I mean, China obviously, but like in Southeast Asia, for example.
I mean, it is
the entire
odd
rest of the world, pretty much.
Yeah, it is odd that the US just kind of, when it comes to that lower mid smartphone, it's Samsung, Motorola, or bust. That's about it, right?
There's a bunch of smaller brands.
It used to be Alcatel was also in there, and I was like,
Alcatel, which is French. I think that's a French company. So back into Europe.
Well, they're owned by TCL now.
There you go, TCL.
Yeah, and it's Chinese, and it kind of died. A
Our feelings about the show may also relate to the fact that phones have plateaued pretty much, right? Like everyone's hyping up folding, but if you have just a phone, if you have a phone from 2 or 3 years ago, you've got a good camera, you've got a good processor, you're fine.
Yeah,
just hold on to that for several years. So it's both a good thing and like a less exciting thing for a show like this.
Yeah, I think foldable is the cool thing. Yeah, I think that is the cool thing this year. We're seeing a lot more foldable phones at cheaper price segments and just sheer availability. Like Samsung foldables are expensive. We never saw Huawei's foldables really outside of China. Motorola's latest foldable was Air.
Also expensive.
So yeah, and like Oppo kind of got ahead of it. Do we want to start talking about?
Yeah, I was going to say, tell us about the Oppo that you had some time with.
Let's talk about Oppo then. Yeah, so this is a device that was kind of previewed ahead of the show, the Oppo Find N2 Flip. So this is a flip phone, so it's comparable to the Z Flip 4. And the main cool thing is a much more expansive front screen. And you can tell where we've popped up the kind of review shot that I took of it, and it's a quite substantial little. It's almost like a little smartphone ratioed screen. It would be cool if I have a lot of I can't wait for the Find N3 Flip to do things like I think you could cram 6 Android apps on that. It's a smartphone shaped ratio, so there is more they could do with that home screen, but it's perfect for that. With any of these flip phones, you can try to take selfies with the main cameras because you can just kind of hold it closed and get a nice preview of the camera. But Samsung chose to make it widescreen on theirs as to how you hold the phone. But with the Oppo, it feels like it's in the right place and in the right way around. So it means you can actually truly frame your shot before you take it. Other than that, it's a slick phone. They make a big deal about how the seam is much less perceptible.
The crease,
Yeah, the crease, which is such a horrible word to use. And it's more invisible, but it's not invisible, if that makes sense. It does look better compared to the old Oppo phones, and it does look better compared to the Z Flip 4, which I had with me. But you can still see it, guys. You can still see it. What's the big deal? Don't praise about it being less shit.
It's less that, but it's a reminder.
Slightly less shit.
It's less bad. It's a reminder that all the foldables, we are creating problems, to get to the dream of foldables. And I'm like, do we need foldables that badly? To live with the crease, or to live with if this thing is closed, you can't see your notifications. So now we got to put another screen, put a screen on your screen,
Or to put that a different way, Devendra, if this screen can fold, are we really going to complain so much about a crease? You know what I mean? Just to your first point, I don't mind the crease at all. And if I like the fact that it can fold into a smaller device, that's a big benefit for me, right? Then I don't mind the crease.
That is the benefit, for sure.
That is the benefit. It's just but by doing that, then you can't see the screen when you need notifications. So then you need another screen.
Right, exactly.
On top. And it's I just feel like we're piling all these fixes on top of the thing, and I don't know. It seems
it's just evolution, isn't it? It's going to take time for it to get to where we want, if it ever does,
Yeah.
One day.
This is a step forward. This does seem, in a lot of ways, better than the Z Flip 4, in my opinion.
I really want to get one to try.
The cameras are equivalent. Screen is pretty and nice, and that's often they often under-deliver these Chinese manufacturers when it comes to the screen, because we're spoiled by Samsung and iPhones. So it's nice. One weird thing was they kind of make a big deal as this having the biggest battery in a kind of flip foldable smartphone, but the battery life isn't great.
The Flip 4 isn't great either on the battery life.
A little bit less than the Flip 4, to be honest. So that's a bit of a disappointment. They use a MediaTek chip inside, so
sorry.
Yeah, I know. But MediaTek,
Wow.
The thing is, I wouldn't have noticed, apart from the bad battery life, that it was a MediaTek chip.
Did it run hot anytime?
No, not particularly, no.
Okay.
And what is odd, you can choose all the colors.
That, by the way, why did you laugh, Sherlyn? Let's be clear.
Yeah, why did you laugh, Sherlyn?
Because MediaTek chips have the reputation of being not as good as Snapdragon chips, right? And so, I know MediaTek has been working hard to improve, and they've done a lot of marketing to improve the things, and or to talk up the chips that they do have. Some of the, what is it? Not the Dimensity. I forget the name for their highest end.
I feel like
chips.
It is Dimensity.
Dimensity, I thought was their modems, but anyway, it could be also just their chips. But it doesn't seem to translate still, you know. But I will be very honest, I still have yet to test one side by side with a Snapdragon, so I can't tell you directly. So maybe, Matt, that's something you do for us.
Great. Yippee! Let Matt test all the MediaTek phones that Sherlyn doesn't want to test. Wonderful.
You know what? I'm going to do that. Actually, I'm going to do that story. I'll do that side by side comparison.
One final point for this Oppo phone as well is, like, you can choose all the colors in the world to make your smartphone, and you choose black and then the same kind of pinkish purple that Samsung does their phone in.
Mm-hmm. The lilac purple.
Yeah, the same color.
That's lame.
It's pretty, but
good.
You could have gone with a nice little pastel green, you know.
But it's also like you're desperate for it to almost be confused for the Samsung one.
Yeah, it's aping another brand for no real reason.
I don't think that's
pretty good. Pretty good for Samsung, because I think for the longest time they were the brand aping a lot of other people, and now people are aping Samsung. So it's like, okay, you've made it. Great.
I want
You're being copied, baby.
I want better for Xiaomi, Oppo, Realme, etc. I want them to not ape the design of other people. And to be fair, the Oppo Find N2 Flip looks nice. The color could be different, and it would still look nice, and it would be eye-catching. You know,
it's just very much come on, guys, like, take a brave step in a different direction. This is a place, like I said, you can choose. These days, you could make your phone any color in the world, and you chose a color of a foldable rival device. In fact, the main device people will compare it to, and put it in the same color. That just means you're lacking confidence.
I'm waiting for that physical material, by the way, where you could just change the color of the phone.
Yeah, or even like an e-ink thing. E-ink where you could put patterns on it. That would be amazing. Yeah, like the cars. Yeah. Yes, please.
I'm going to call this purple, the BTS Samsung purple. That's because that's what it reminds me of. But there's some interesting comments in the chat. By the way, on our live stream, Rob Langley said that the screen on this Find N2 Flip is pretty much the Nokia 8210's size, which, holy crap, remember how small phones actually used to be? If you don't remember, then haha, you're young. Good for you.
You're young. I miss those QV phones though. They were adorable. Fit right into your pocket.
If you're that young, you don't even remember foldables the first time around. How dare you?
Exactly.
Do we have other phones? Yeah.
Darren N in the chat also says, when I want a potato, I get a MediaTek processor. Ooh. I like that. I'm here for the salty chips. But speaking of, there's a lot more foldables, and we're going to move on to them. So Honor, I believe, make the Magic VS. And it's one of those that... So Honor, as a refresher, used to be like a sub-brand under Huawei, and it was a more affordable brand, but now it is, like, I think, separate and doing its own thing. In December, the company sort of unveiled the Magic VS, and it was the first of the company's foldables, so far it's made two, that will come to the West, which means, like, just coming outside of China, I guess. It was just a prototype back in December when Dan Cooper got to play with it, and it was still not, it didn't feel very refined or finished. But now, hey, there's the finished version that showed up at MWC, and it's going to be sold again outside of China for once, starting at around 1,500 or 1,600 euros for the model with 12 gigs of RAM.
So we're talking Z Fold prices here, yeah.
Exactly. Everyone's going for that price range. So I mean, look, but to be fair, it's not the Z Folds. Not the Z Flips form factor. This is more the Fold, the bigger phone that opens up into a square. I don't know. Have you played with this device, Matt?
No, I haven't. So Daniel Cooper did the write-up on this when he got to test the Chinese one a while. What was it? A couple of months ago? Yeah, December. They kind of refined the kind of software bits and pieces. I'm sure, make sure the hardware was a little bit better. But yeah, you can check out our hands-on impressions from December. And is it just me, or does it look like a Z, one of the like generation 1 or 2 Z Flips? Of a Fold.
Look at the
chunky
divot,
corners.
The thing in the middle, right? The bridge in the middle of the crease looks so deep. Like you could go for a swim in that little trench.
How deep is your crease?
This is one of those things where I'm like,
to be fair, I think that the picture we're all looking at on the stream right now is Dan's picture of possibly the prototype. So in the 3 months since, it may have become better. But
how much? Oh, by the way, Shirlene, how much are Honor paying you for this episode of the podcast?
No, none. I just want to. I'm always fair. I do think it looks janky. Also, on Honor devices, like I.
Oh, so now the truth comes out.
How much is Samsung paying you for this episode? I can just keep flipping whichever side you're gonna take this side.
Oh, I wish they would all pay me.
Yeah, in its favor though, one of the cool things about this Honor VS, I think it's called, right? Yeah, Honor VS, it's the sequel. The front screen looks like a normal smartphone, so they've pretty much like expanded it to the outer limits of that front. Once it's folded, that front screen looks like a normal, albeit incredibly thick, smartphone.
Yeah, the Z Fold 4 is like that too. Yeah, basically this apes the Z Fold 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
Very much
pretty
so.
much.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty much the news about the Honor VS, but we also saw the Tecmo.
Tecmo.
The Techno.
Tecmo?
Even worse.
Mo.
Techno.
Tecmo.
Like the music without a H.
Techno.
Yeah. Phantom V Fold.
Yeah.
And it is Dimensity, the processor. So you were right, Sherlyn. Congrats. MediaTek. This is
Great.
another MediaTek powered phone.
Sponsored by
Sponsored by MediaTek. Now this I like. I haven't played with this. Richard Lai tested this out, I'm guessing, in Hong Kong. I don't think he's in MWC. Engadget Chinese's Richard Lai. And it's using recycled plastic on the backing, which I think looks really nice. Thoughts?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm again not having touched or seen it.
It looks weird.
It's interesting. It looks like one of those faded wallet covers where like you've used your wallet too long and it's cracking. You know,
a lot of cars are using like recycled plastics in their interiors now. It kind of has like dashboard vibes almost.
Well, but a lot of laptops too, like a lot of wearables and phones. The Pixel, the Galaxy S23 series was launched with a lot of recycled materials built into using in the frame, but not with a finish like this that we can see. It. You know, and I think it's okay to not remind me that you're using recycled plastic every time I touch the phone. I do think something different aesthetically is nice.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Like, golf clap, you've used some recycled materials when everyone is, dying.
Did you say golf clap?
Yeah, that's what you call this gentle clap, golf clap.
Okay.
But open it up. And if you were saying the Honor VS that Dan used in December was a prototype. Oh my God, look at the chunky bezels on this foldable. You really need to check out the pictures on Engadget. But this looks like the first foldable from 2015 or something.
Again, nobody's paying me to say this. I think the bezels, are pretty chunky. The camera is off. The selfie camera that's in the bigger screen is off to one side. It is also, by the way, a fold phone. So it's more of a tablet style fold as opposed to the flip style that we were talking about earlier. But the whole spiel or the appeal of the Phantom V Fold is that it's more affordable than the rest, right? And so every time you see more affordable, you see MediaTek as the processor in there, which if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what it'll tell you. According to the post, it's the MediaTek Dimensity 9000 Plus, which is the same one on the Oppo Find N2 Flip, but that's a smaller phone. Don't forget, the Find N2 Flip is a smaller phone. This is a big phone with two gigantic screens. It's a 7.85 inch screen on the inside and a 6.42 inch screen on the outside. I will say the camera hump on the back looks kind of nice. It's one of those circular ones that looks like a little, like, not a Leica, but like a more traditional camera looking thing. It's fine. I mean, like, it's for the money, which, have we looked at the price yet? Have we talked about the price yet?
Slightly over $1,000 in UK money, I guess. Or...
US money. Well, the prices we've got are in dollars, So the base model would be $1,099, while the 512 gigabyte version is $1,222.
To be clear, we will never see this in the US, so you have to import it. So
and I'm not even sure how much it's going to Europe because Richard mentions like India, African countries, Latin America, where that's where Techno normally launches their devices.
Yes. But for hundreds less than the actual Samsung Fold. This is what you get. You get what you pay for it.
You get a worse processor, worse camera.
How do we feel? Do we like it?
I like the idea of having foldables in different price ranges and just kind of making the more of these phones there are, the more actual apps that will utilize that screen will appear. I'm still not I'm not completely sold on the fold. I think if it's going to fold out, it should fold out to kind of proper tablet proportions, if anything. So I don't think
true.
This isn't going to solve that problem.
All right. Well, okay, we didn't get to see a few things because, to be clear, Engadget doesn't actually have people on the ground. We're not quite sure if Richard is actually in Barcelona, but we are not there. But we are being able to cover some of this remotely because companies have been able to hold satellite events or send us devices. But there are things that we heard showed up there that we haven't seen for ourselves. For example, the Motorola Riser. Which is a concept phone, second version of the previous Motorola Riser. And the Riser is just this phone that I think you press a button and it like starts scrolling upwards to extend its screen. Weird, but okay, Motorola. How about you fix the flip?
How about you make that a thing I could just nudge up the sun? How about that? Like the old slider phones. Oh man.
Oh my god.
The funny thing is, if you cast your mind back to what Dev was saying earlier, he was complaining about why do we need a screen on the back when we, why are we opening the phone to the screen in the middle and why do we have a screen? This does both in a way, in that the roll-up screen, as it expands from like a squat phone to a more widescreen one, when it folds up again, that big old screen kind of wraps around to the back so you can still see it. But this is baffling.
I too love to wait 7 seconds for my phone to expand while I need to see more content on a page.
But we're looking at an image from Brian Heater at TechCrunch, and when he goes into landscape mode for like a video, then it kind of pushes out, and then that's where I'm sort of like, when I want to watch a video on my phone, I want more flexibility over how that video looks. So if it can,
and you're okay waiting for it to push out.
I mean, whatever. It's a couple seconds. Like, to me, that is functional and useful. I don't think it's a smart thing because any movement of your phone, folks, is like one more thing to break. Like, as somebody who's troubleshooted for a long time, you don't want things moving, you know?
It reminds me of all those, a couple of years ago when all the smartphones were doing pop-out cameras of varying types. Either like the top of the screen would pop out or even just a little tiny periscope would pop out of the phone. And why?
I mean, to be clear, these are just companies jumping on trends that other companies have started first. I mean, TCL did rollable, scrollable phones a while ago, scrollable phones that would scroll out on both sides with a button push, and those concepts were janky looking as hell. They felt janky.
You have to make prototypes to see if you can make it real, you know?
It seems like such an expensive experiment without truly believing in its aim.
Well, so speaking of more concepts that may or may not come out, we've got Lenovo at MWC showing off rollable laptop and smartphone. We, again, didn't get to see this, even though we did attend a Lenovo satellite event here in New York. But I guess The Verge was able to see it. And this is basically what I just said, right? A laptop that the screen will extend at a push of a switch on the side. It will roll out or up. And you actually might not be able to tell that it's a laptop with an extendable screen when it's not unfurled. That's because it's pretty thin. Yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, I think I see some of the animation stuff. It's basically the screen unfolds or rolls up, I guess, from the keyboard edge. At the push of a button.
Is it just me, or does it remind anyone else of a fax machine?
A little bit.
Yeah. Like how the screen kind of extends like a printout kind of thing. It's quite uncanny to watch it in action.
I mean, again, I haven't seen this in person, but looking at the pictures and looking at the video or animations, it looks very thin and very finished. This is not a chunky old prototype. This looks interesting.
It looks pretty. I mean, as an idea, once you put your laptop down somewhere, right? You're typically sitting and working for a little while. Where I think when you're working on your phone, you could be moving around, and having a moving screen there seems like a worse idea. But also, no two more mechanical parts or things.
True. We're back to that again.
Laptops. Like, these things will break. You will cry, and you will spend twice or three times as much money over a standard laptop to get a screen that pops out a little bit. Get a little USB-C portable screen. They're wonderful. They're getting cheaper. They're great.
Exactly. If you have some kind of damaged beast at home, like a kid or pet or whatever, this is not probably something that's
one fall from a coffee table at a cafe or something, and your poor laptop is not rolling anymore. Yeah.
And it'll probably break in half. The phone that I mentioned from Lenovo that was a rollable was a Motorola Riser, because remember, Motorola is owned by Lenovo. Matt, did you have anything else to say about Lenovo's stuff before I moved on to the rest of the MWC news?
No, just I'd like them to actually launch one of these silly things.
How dare you?
You think. You think.
Assume.
We'd wish. So we alluded to this earlier in the episode, but a lot of the other stuff that showed up at MWC had to do with fast charging and insanely fast charging and charging over the air. But really quickly before we get into that stuff, I want to say Xiaomi did come up with wireless AR glasses, which was one of the earliest news out of MWC. They got a lot of attention. It's still a concept. So good for you, Xiaomi. But it is the wireless AR glass Discovery Edition. And it's going to use the same chip as the Meta Quest Pro, which is confusing to me because the Quest is VR and this is AR. So
it's just
probably.
A chip,
it's just a way to claim it's more impressive than it is. Yeah.
Like these things look bad. Like these things look so bad. They look so thick around the top part and how it sits on your nose, and the arms are so thick. Like, the whole point of AR glasses, you're going to want to wear these things like, all day or most of the day, much of the day. And no to this.
They look like sunglasses from a Naughty's hip hop music video.
Naughty's as an Noughties. Okay, because I went straight for NAU. Anyway.
Get your mind out like gutter. Ugh.
Lei Jun of Xiaomi said in his tweet about the glasses that these feature a lightweight yet sturdy design with a magnesium lithium alloy structure and carbon fiber materials. There's electrochromic lenses that allow for seamless access to reality and the virtual world at a single click. So you press a button.
Access to reality. Thank you.
Access to reality. Because I lose access to reality all the time. I don't know about you, but I have no access to reality.
Oh, no, I've worked with you long enough, Sherlyn. I know.
You know.
We all know.
You're aware. I have no access to. I need this. You know what? I need this for the access to reality.
Please eat. Go take a nap. Stop working.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yes. It weighs 4.4 ounces, about 126 grams. So I guess it seems light. It just looks bulky.
It looks chunky. Yeah.
It looks bulky, but Dan in his write-up about this piece says that he knows from experience that anything over 100 grams pushing down on your nose is still too much to wear for extended periods of time. So it depends on how long you intend to use this thing. So we'll see. I honestly don't. It's not come out yet. B, we need to see how the battery life and all of that stuff.
There's a lot we need to see. I mean, we will talk about Meta's potential roadmap for AR glasses 2 down the line. So
I would put money on the fact that we will never talk about this product ever again.
I agree. I totally agree.
Okay. Write that down. March 2nd, 2023, 11:04 a.m. We all bet that we'll never hear about these again. If we talk about this again, someone's losing money.
Hit me up on Twitter, because Twitter will probably be gone by then, and I'll be fine.
Oh my gosh, that is true. Okay, so speaking of what I was talking about, some fast charging news out of MWC. We got Xiaomi and Realme both coming out with extremely fast charging devices. Realme GT3 features 240 watts fast charging, which will get it to a full charge in just 9.5 minutes. So as you're brushing your teeth, I guess. Meanwhile, Xiaomi 300 watt charging demo. So just 5 minutes for your phones to get to
As
full.
you're brushing your teeth, your phone is slowly warming up, and by the time you pick it up, it will keep you warm during these cold winter
days. It will toast your bread.
Pop your coffee on it, and it'll keep it warm.
It's warm.
Exactly.
It's a double feature. It'll keep everything
exactly.
warm.
So, I mean, I don't think we don't have much time left. I just want to quickly shout out that the Nokia G22 was also shown off at MWC. It is the HMD, which is the parent company of the Nokia brand now. It is the first phone that they've made built with repairability in mind, which just seems like it's taking... it's just another trend in the space.
We don't see too many repairable phones, to be honest.
I mean, a lot of people just don't tout it like that, right? There's phones that are, modular.
It's not sexy either, is it? You're not getting cutting edge specifications when you can unscrew it at home, unfortunately.
Exactly.
We did talk about iPhone, the latest iPhone, right?
Exactly, the latest iPhone.
That's super nice.
Exactly, is designed to be better or easier to repair.
These Nokia
I also want to shout.
Nice. It's worth pointing out.
Yeah. I want to shout out, speaking of the colors, the new Nokia logo. Matt, I think, did you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I so don't care. Is that bad?
No,
does
it's
it say
sad.
Nokia in all caps?
Yeah, it does.
That's all it needs to do.
Yeah.
It's slightly less, I don't know.
It looks a lot. It looked like a lot something else I saw recently. I bookmarked it somewhere, but now I can't find it. But yeah, like, what are you going to say about it? Like, when was the last time Nokia pushed a device in the US anyway? I mean, Indeed. It's a very, it's a storied heritage phone brand like BlackBerry. But I'm not sure like a new glowy logo is going to
do it.
Turn heads, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, if you want to see the new logo, head on over to Engadget.com, where you can also see all of the other MWC 2023 news. This has just been a little bit of a preview of what we found was most interesting for the podcast. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us today to talk all about MWC.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Let's hit the eject button.
See you soon.
Goodbye, Matt.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye, guys. I'll stop and send you the file, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And we currently don't have time for live chat, you all. We gotta wrap this in about 23 minutes. So I'll talk to you at the end, but Devin just gotta go. So we'll come back to you shortly. We're gonna power through the rest of this stuff. We're gonna keep the review very short. Okay, cool. Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on, this week, my review of the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus went up, and we can say one sentence about it. This is a phone. Devindra, what do you want to know?
Is it a Plus phone? Like where?
Yeah.
I'm so confused because you said you just reviewed the other S23. Okay, so what is the difference between this one and the other one? And
all right.
What?
So Sam Rutherford reviewed the Samsung S23 Ultra. This is the Galaxy S23 Plus. So the
is
Plus
Ultra
is the
better
child.
than Plus?
Ultra is better than I know. Yeah, I know. I had the same question for you. So the Plus is the middle child, and it's the 6.6-ish inch screen. I can't remember the numbers anymore. And it's it goes up more against like the Pixel 7 Pro as opposed to like the highest end iPhone, that sort of thing. It's fine. It's a fine phone. But if you have the S22 Plus or the S21 Plus, you don't need to upgrade. It's the same phone. It's been the last 2 years.
I mean, that was the 23 story, right? The S23 in general has been more the same. Yeah.
For all, and even for the phones in the year 2022, also just all felt very incremental. I just think that's the state of smartphones this year. Yep. But I think it tells us it's a good way to remind us that we really don't need to be upgrading our phones all that much.
And so, Samsung is like, this is why Samsung's so gung ho on foldables, because they are first and they want to be the best by the time it's affordable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. In other news this week, we heard some stuff from Microsoft. It's bringing Bing AI, which has been such a hot topic everywhere. But Bing AI is coming to the Windows 11 taskbar. I think, Devindra, you covered this.
I could talk about it because this is a weird story where earlier this week I got a note from Microsoft saying, hey, big Windows update coming, and Bing AI is coming to the taskbar. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And there's a whole lot of other features. So this ends up being like a big spring update for Windows 11.
Okay.
But the big story is like, Bing AI in the taskbar seems nice. We've been hearing so much about this thing. Turns out, like, not quite. It kind of like, I didn't have it to test before we wrote about it. So I see it now in my Windows 11 build. And when you click into it, it is basically gives you like the Bing overview. And when you click into it to do, like, that's the overview search. But if you click into it to do a search or to do an AI chat request or something, it basically launches Edge. It just does the Edge thing.
So it pulls up Edge.
It pulls up Edge. It's just a shortcut to opening up Edge, which seems not quite what they're saying, right? Like, I thought it was going to give me the chat field in the taskbar or in a pop-up or something.
Right.
Yeah.
When it pulls up Edge, does it pull up Edge with the Bing chat page open, or does it pull up with the panel? Because there's two integrations of Bing on Edge, right? The Bing.com.
So when I search like how to make pancakes, I'm going to search that right now. And what I see is I get the normal Bing search result. And then I'm not seeing the chat thing right now. That is weird. But
if you scroll up on the results, because it's still
thing.
It's janky. It doesn't seem like it's working. So
the
well
key
done.
is
Thank
it
you.
launches Edge. Like whatever you're doing, it's a shortcut to launching Edge. Not quite Bing AI in the taskbar, but that's what Microsoft wants to think.
Maybe it's still rolling out of beta, I guess, Bing AI. So
maybe eventually. Like the thing is, like when you open your start menu or anything like in Windows 11, it's just a web page, right? So maybe eventually they can integrate the AI stuff better into the actual Windows 11 interface, but that's not there right now.
Yeah. So it's not as big as we thought it would be. Well, we also found out this week that Meta has plans to launch its first true AR glasses in 2027. Cool. Like, thanks for letting me know 4 years from now.
My daughter is going to be much older by then.
Yeah.
5 years, she's going to be almost 10 years old. We're going to live in a future of flying cars. We're going to solve the climate crisis by then.
The environment will still be around, I guess. Yeah.
2027.
This is wow. That's a very manageable goal.
It's I mean, this is kind of where I think a lot of companies are thinking about. That's why I'm so like iffy on the Xiaomi thing. Like, yeah, bro, those are nice images, those are nice concepts. Realistically, Facebook, aka Meta, which owns Oculus, has been working on this stuff forever. Between the VR glasses and some stuff we've heard about the AR, we're hearing a lot of different things too. Like, it is we hear that there's going to be a Quest 3, another mobile VR headset coming later this year. We hear they're going to be updating the Ray-Ban Stories, which are the sunglasses with the built-in cameras. They're okay. I like them. They're not polarized. The lens is on polarized. If you're making me spend $200 on glasses, at the least you could do that. But apparently those are going to get better, and they plan to launch a VR headset in 2024 called Ventura, which should be cheaper than all the others. So like, they're working every year. It seems like Meta wants to build towards this, towards eventually getting to those full-fledged AR glasses. We don't know, like, why would people need this? We don't know
exactly
like, what that actual ecosystem is going to look like. And honestly, I think this is something even Apple is trying to figure out right now, because we have heard that they've delayed announcements around their mixed reality glasses. Maybe WWDC will see something. I'm hoping to actually go there to do that too. Like, I'm sure you're probably going to be going, Sherlyn.
Yes.
But this stuff is years away. This stuff is not happening anytime soon. And I think in that time, these companies really have to take a step back and be like, okay, so who needs this? Why do we need
I was going to say,
that's
what I think the 4 years are for, to figure out how to make everyone feel like they need to wear glasses all the time. Because there's a whole reason there's an entire market for not wearing glasses all the time. Contact lenses, LASIK surgery, like all of that stuff. It's you're gonna try to convince people, because that's AR, right? If you're telling me VR is whatever, we put it on when we want to use it, but AR, maybe, I guess there is a use case for it other than enterprise. I can see it in enterprise, but outside
enterprise, and I've tested the Magic Leap 2, which are big on enterprise, and like the good AR, really good AR, but those are giant goggles. They require like a little computing hockey puck that you put in your pocket, like not for everybody. And I also feel like within, like, before 2030, like, we're going to see more holographics. We're going to see more like displays that are practically like floating in the air and more transparent. And it does feel like eventually that is what we want from AR. I don't know if we necessarily always need to have our own little HUDs,
Yeah. So we'll see. This is something we'll obviously have to be learning more and more about over the next few years. Hey, something a bit more immediate. TikTok. I think some kind of bad news for TikTok. What do you think, Dev?
We've heard so much back and forth, right? So yesterday we saw the news that a U.S. House panel approves a bill which would give President Biden the power to ban TikTok. So parsing all of that, right? They approved a bill to give him power. He's not doing that just yet. And even then, that bill will have to go through like everything, right? It has to go through Congress. And that's probably not going to happen.
Yep.
So this is just another one of those things of like, people being very skeptical of TikTok, governments in particular. We're seeing TikTok bans pop up all over the world too. So this seems like the trend. I don't know. I know you're like TikTok ambivalent, Sherlyn, but this is a weird thing because I feel like it's not the fight we really need to be having. Because ByteDance, which owns TikTok, is directly tied to the Chinese government, and there are issues around that, like how they'll use our data. But I feel like there are bigger things we should be worrying about right now. But anyway, it's weird. It's weird. Everyone's thinking about TikTok.
TikTok also, I think this week announced that it was adding auto screen limits for teenagers, kids under a certain age.
Better
teens.
Controls,
the more susceptible ones. Yeah. I know how to walk away from my phone, I think.
I don't believe that.
I know. Okay. So maybe the teens need some help. So we're thinking less screen time, good, right? But Mercedes is like, nah. More screen time while you're driving.
Let's put video chats in your cars. How about that?
Yeah. So this week again, we also heard Mercedes is bringing WebEx video meetings to its E-Class series of vehicles. So that's like an added layer of funny, because I think our producer Ben pointed out, of all the video things you could support is WebEx.
It's WebEx.
Arguably the worst one.
It's a deal with Cisco, right? Mercedes finally teamed up with Cisco, the partnership everyone has been asking for.
I'm dead.
It's so bad. Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, it's a partnership with Cisco, kitted out with WebEx and calling and WebEx AI audio to like minimize background noise and that sort of stuff.
That's a pretty big thing. Like I've taken meetings while driving, and usually I have like AirPods in or something, so I'm like talking to people, and you can tell when somebody's driving, and you can hear the road noise.
Yeah.
To be clear, this integration is audio only when you're actually moving or driving. It's video when you're parked, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're parked, you can also have transcription, content sharing, like, I don't know, share your screen or whatever, emoji reactions, and there will be an app for it in the Mercedes-Benz car app store, some of which you have to pay for. It doesn't seem like, other video apps are mentioned as already being supported in Mercedes' like platform, but I guess we'll see. If you're that very niche slice of the market that uses both.
Listen, you're buying a Mercedes-Benz, especially like one of their new EVs. Like, you're a high roller. You're always on the go. Your car is your mobile office. So it kind of makes sense for that audience. I think for normal people, this is a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of cars, Devendra, this week you're working on something about a car, aren't you?
I'm working on something. Oh yeah. As soon as I leave this show, I'm going to be running off to Rivian's Atlanta Customer Service Center to check out an R1S, and I'll have that for a week and hope to write up something about that as a family car. This thing is pretty much like my dream EV, and I'm big into midsize SUVs right now, 7-seaters, because I have two kids. I have 2 car seats I have to deal with. Occasionally, we drive around with my folks, my parents, and it's like, you got to fit everybody in the car. And also, we need room for like strollers and all sorts of stuff. So I feel like this is a thing a lot of families are going to be dealing with right now. So I'll look at the R1S as a family car. Robbie Balson already did the review for us. So, this is sort of an extension on his review. What are you working on, Sherlyn?
I'm sleeping. No, I am. I'm testing the Halo Rise, like I mentioned before, the Galaxy S23 Plus review being out of the way. My next review is the Halo Rise, Amazon's bedside lamp / sleep tracker. I actually
love sleeping with gadgets. Like, we love how much they mess up your sleep. Right?
I do. No, well, I hate sleeping wearing gadgets. I don't like to wear a gadget to sleep. And this is ideal for me. I love to track my sleep, but I don't like to wear anything. And this does it without me having to wear anything.
Okay.
But it's also a nightlight and like a bit of a clock, which are 2 things that have been missing from my bedroom since I moved in. So it's very nice to have, and I like it so far. I've got other stories I'm working on too. I'm testing out some video conferencing tools, just for a bit of a feature, and then some other videos that we're working on. So and editing stuff. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So Dev. Oh my God. Hey Dev. What would you recommend I watch this week as a break from work?
I would recommend you check out Party Down, the revival, the 3rd season revival of the show, which basically it launched. It was 10 years ago. Like, Party Down started in 2009. This was a show about people, in LA doing catering work as they were like trying to make it big eventually. And it was such a funny show, such a like dark show, and like the kind of mean spirited in a fun way. It's just genuinely great. One of the best things Starz had back in the day. Now it's back in a 3rd season. And it's still really good and still really funny. And if you want some good comedy in your life, especially from Mr. Adam Scott, who's now made it bigger along with a lot of other folks, I think this is worth checking out. The only thing is you have to subscribe to Starz to see it. And let me tell you, I have not had fun trying to subscribe to Starz, because the first time I signed up for a free trial, my Apple TV just would not recognize that purchase. Like, Apple said, oh yeah, you're being billed. The Apple TV is like, no account found. I tried to log into stars.com, no account created. I've been in a big loop where this did not work out so well for me. So just be careful out there, folks, when you're trying to join up Starz stuff. Eventually, a friend of mine who works at Starz was able to like get me a workaround, but like,
jeez,
not the thing everybody's going to have access to. So anyway, the show is good. I think you would enjoy it, Sherlyn. I believe the first 2 seasons are on either Hulu or Netflix right now. So
okay,
they're hilarious.
I'll look it up.
They're so good.
I like Stars. I might sign up for Stars just for Spartacus.
Spartacus is coming back.
TV series.
Eventually.
I know. I saw this coming back. I am excited for that. I mean, I hope it's as good as the original because the original was really good. But this week, mine aren't really picks, just like stuff I saw really. And you're gonna judge me for this, but I stand by it.
Yeah.
I watched. I can't say that I loved it, but I watched School of Good and Evil on Netflix. I was lured into it because somebody on the Netflix description team very cleverly wrote this stars Charlize Theron and Michelle Yeoh, and I was like, Michelle Yeoh is in it for 5 minutes. She's in it for 5 minutes.
I feel like they do this a lot. I also feel like my wife has watched some of the show. I'm like, did Netflix just create a show based on all the YA tropes that people have been talking about? A school.
Yes.
Is it good or evil? I don't know. Let's play in the title. Let's play in the title.
Yes.
Let's get some stars. Michelle Yeoh, are you free for 5 minutes? Yes, I can walk by.
You kick any ass? No, she does not kick any ass in this. She just
smiles. This is such a pure Netflix creation of like, an algorithm has made the show. Enjoy it.
Yes. So that was like, okay, look, whatever. It was mind-numbing filler. That's exactly what I needed. Charlize Theron was amazing. You know who else is in it? Kerry Washington, I believe, is also in this. So I enjoyed the three women. They really brought a lot of like joy to my screen time. The rest of the story was kind of fine. I mean, a lot of the actors were competent, but the rest of it, the story is like whatever. Another show I watched.
Netflix filler. Like there's so much of that now. Yeah,
I know. It feels like it's all AI generated, but we will come back to that. The other show I watched that I will talk about is, I think you would prefer this one that I saw, Take Shelter, starring Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain. It was hard for me to watch because psychological thrillers are really, really just so they drag, but this one was halfway decent.
I think.
I mean, it's better than that. It's
a tremendous movie because it is so like, it is such a, especially now that after we dealt with the pandemic, right, and we started like seeing like, I started to feel like, oh, society is slowly falling apart right here. Yeah, the things holding us together are so tenuous. This is a show that was the movie that was dealing with that like a decade ago. You know.
Yeah.
Speaking of Michelle Yeoh, by the way, I would just want to recommend to you and to everybody else listening, go check out the A24 podcast because there's an episode with Michelle Yeoh talking to Brendan Fraser, just having a chat as friends, and it's so adorable. Like they're so sweet together. So go check out that episode.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to do the outro, and then I can do Q&A with the audience while you have to take off.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it for the episode this week, everyone. Thank you, as always, for listening. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. This podcast is produced by Ben Elman. You can find Devindra online at
Devindra on Twitter and at Devindra at Mastodon.social on the Elephant site.
If you want to send me just shows that Michelle Yeoh's been in that nobody has heard of before, you can hit me up on Twitter. I am at Sherlyn Lowe. Email us your thoughts at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes, and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts.
Okay, we're done.
Yay. All right. Thanks, Dev.
Thanks, folks.
Audience,
I'm out.
we
Later,
are still
folks.
here to chat. Bye, Dev. I see D-Man is talking about Agretsuka again. D-Man, you gotta change up your topic once in a while.
Oh, well, I mean, D-Man was also talking about The Mandalorian. Mandalorian came out.
Okay, I'm gonna go all the way back because I know we missed a lot of the comments today. I saw a lot of good ones too. Hi to Guillaume FR, who says Alcatel was French indeed. I believe that's what the FR in your name stands for, France. And Buddy305 Love mentioned that they're still waiting for a limited edition release of a BlackBerry phone. Ha! You think BlackBerry's ever coming out again? I don't know. I wish. I hope. Coffee Rush mentioned that there's leaked renders for the upcoming Z Fold that will have a big screen on the front. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. That's tricky because then battery life, and also what are you going to use that for, etc., etc.
Oh, and then speaking of phone internals, there was that rumor about the modem that the iPhone might use like in a year or a couple years, but I don't think that that's confirmed yet. The idea that Apple might be making its own modem instead of using another manufacturer's thing. But yeah, unconfirmed.
Yeah. The Kylo Tech, which by the way, familiar name, hi, says Devindra will love foldables once Apple drops theirs. We'll see. I don't know if Devindra will ever like foldables. And Guillaume FR says Xiaomi 13 Lite copied the dynamic island. Xiaomi has been copying Apple forever. That's been their whole like history. Okay. Phone Saver says, how about a book phone? Lots of pages of screens. Wow, you're really thinking. Wow. Hi to dude named Charlie.
By the way. One tab per page.
Yeah. That's how, yeah, totally. And then if you're like me, you'll have like 7,000 pages. So there you go. Gonna keep going on down. Dude named Charlie mentions their LG V60, which is a deep cut shout out. Phone savers always love it. Nice. Cool. Rolling screens. KP is here. Hello. KP asked, what does concept mean? Can they make it or not? They can, but they probably won't because it might be too difficult or it might not make financial sense, that sort of thing. Like a concept or a prototype is just to show you that they can make it. Whether or not they do depends on the reception to it.
Yeah, I mean, is it all reception? Because you'd think that they would put just like a silly amount of money into proving that they can make it. And then even if people are crazy about it, they might be like, oh, well, like it doesn't really work. Like we can't get all the stuff into that footprint.
It's not just reception, but reception's a big part of it. I think if people kept going like, we love this, we really want it, they see demand and they will make supply. And they will somehow make supply. Hi to Jonathan Anderson, said hi to Engadget chat. I hope you're all still here. Man, Springles is mentioning other SoC brands like Unisoc, I guess. Oh boy. And Kabiraj correctly points out the new logo for Nokia is for the network products. I actually did not see the details, so there you go.
Springles was also talking about wondering if it's possible to make another platform work on the Google Glass hardware, because Buddy 305
I saw that
and I were talking about the Google Glass. I really would have liked to, I still want to play around with Google Glass, but no, have not had the opportunity. And then Buddy said that they had Google Glass and like their daughter loved it, which, man, I'm envious of your daughter. I want to be able to play around with that. Did it work as well as Google said that it would? But
the Glass?
Yeah.
So I played with the Glass a bunch back in the day. It was fine.
Oh, that's right. I've seen pictures of it, or
I have. I'm holding on to Engadget's Google Glass, by the way. Like, that's I'm the inventory keeper for now since we got rid of the office space. So the Google Glass worked. It would run kind of hot. It was very nice and lightweight. You could wear it very comfortably. It was like a little screen that you kind of like could focus on when you wanted to see things and not look at if you didn't want to look at things. And it would. Because it's so small, there's a limit as to like how much it can display. So it's mostly like arrows or like notification, like one word, that sort of thing. It works. It was ahead of its time, maybe a little bit, but also a little struggle with battery life and that sort of thing.
I do think it would be cool for directions. Like, I think that would be cool too. Walking around or something, you have that working in concert with Google Maps, and then you just know when to turn instead of like checking your phone like 3 or 4 times when you're going to a place that's unfamiliar.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, part of the beauty of AR. I think that's one of the reasons that companies are still trying to make AR happen. They have to figure out a way, though, to make it worth our while other than just overlay directions on the real world. We've got, a lot of people like Buddy 305 love talking about how with Nokia really once in a while they should bring back the E7, the 900 and the 1020, or they should return to making camera phones, Springle said, and the Nokia N8. Geez, we got a lot of love for old Nokia phones because they were freaking amazing, y'all. And KP goes, I plan to make my first $1 billion in 2027. Yeah, you and Meta both.
That. KP is consistently funny in the chat. KP, I hope you
Excellent,
still
KP.
you always come back, because it's just nice to have you. And then what?
Hi to Ethan Nguyen, by the way, who said, "Hi, this is amazing." I hope you meant this experience.
Podcast. Yeah,
this podcast is amazing. Please specify. We love compliments here.
Sherlyn especially.
Yeah, I love him.
So Darren N says, thoughts on Twitter staff who did hardcore work and still got fired. I mean, you could be very sassy about it. You could be extremely sassy about it, but like at the end of the day, it's just really sad that there were people who were willing to like really buckle down. They probably had like a really shiny vision for what the next version of Twitter could be. And I don't know if it's supposing too much by saying that they might have felt betrayed by the fact that they were willing to do like rip 16-hour days, like several like weeks at a time, and then they just got thrown out like everybody else. Bummer, big bummer.
I have a lot of personal thoughts on Twitter and who's running Twitter now, and it's probably not something I can say publicly. Liker or Ilker Kuseri says hello. Dude named Charlie had a funny question, funny not question but comment. The heck is WebEx? Yeah, yeah. And everyone's like, it's a meeting platform like Zoom. KP, speaking of just now, when we were saying KP has great funny comments, KP also rightly points out it's not that ByteDance is directly linked to the Chinese government. It's just that every Chinese company has to obey the government. Exactly.
Yeah, precisely.
So there you go. More. We see all your comments. It's just there's a lot. Okay, I'm gonna skip all the way down now to the more recent comments. And let's go back up. Someone asked if we were still remote. Gonzalo asked if we are only remote now. We've always been hybrid. And we will more or less, we go to an office if we need to. And the ones of us that do a lot of videos or take a lot of briefings and meetings in person do that a lot more than the others. We have a lot of people who are based in cities where we don't actually have offices too. So like we said, UK Bureau Chief Matt, he's in London. We have Dan Cooper, who we mentioned a couple times this episode. He's in somewhere outside of London that would take 2 hours to get into the city. So for him, why does he need to come into the city all the time to go into an office? He can do his work much better from home.
Dev's in the greater Atlanta area.
Yeah, and we don't have an office there. So it really just, it's whatever is best, whatever is most efficient and effective for your workers, honestly.
One last small thing about the Twitter situation. I've heard chatter from like software engineers who know people at Twitter, and just software engineers, working in the Bay in general, who like have all kind of speculated on good footing that some of the people who were still at Twitter were also there for visa reasons. So they might not be able to just immediately leave a job in order to, escape what might be 16-hour days or something. So they would need to find someone else who could sponsor their visa or, before they leave. So it's possible that some of the people who got fired were maybe either really hardcore or looking for jobs, and now they're going to be in an even worse situation because the visa situation is difficult. Charlene, you know a thing or two about that.
Yes, this was mentioned way early on when Twitter first started losing people, or when Elon first took over, and the pictures came out of the people who were still working overnights to like help Twitter run instead of striking or quitting en masse. So yeah, that's the sad truth. But when Meta laid people off, Meta supposedly worked with visa workers to help them get placed before they really laid them off and that sort of thing. So it's part of the thing. Dude named Charlie said Gangs of London is your recommendation, so that's good. I will, I guess, check it out. Maybe. Darren N says, should we talk about Tesla Investor Day? Should we? Because did Elon Musk say anything? He did not. From what I heard, it was like a lot of grandiose stuff. I like that the chatter leading up to Tesla Investor Day was very much like, oh, is he going to talk about his Twitter plan, his plan to like use Tesla money to pump up Twitter some more, or no? But I don't know that he did. I didn't tune in. Our team did. We have our coverage on the website. Tesla Investor Day just happened a little later in the day for me. I really still want to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, which Coffee Rush was talking about. I still haven't seen it yet. Oh, and Guillaume goes, yes, this podcast is amazing. Thank you. Yes.
And Kavi Raj mentions Dorsey's new platform, Blue Sky. We were talking about having that on the episode possibly, but the fact of the matter is that it's still in like invitation only beta, which is to say like not that many people can get in, even people who work in tech journalism, according to Devendra.
I like how Kavi Rush says, just imagine wandering by wearing the Xiaomi AR glass with Dyson headset. Hell yeah. I would. I would totally do that. That would be amazing.
Wait, is the Dyson headset the one that also, like, it's a headphones and also, yes, okay.
That reminds me, I need to ping Dyson again because they said units in January and it is now March. So there we go. I think we're about to wrap this up. So get your last comments and questions in, everybody, or say your goodbyes now, because then we can say bye to you. Jonathan Anderson mentioned the only thing impressive to you about the Tesla is the magic dock to allow other EVs to charge. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. Kavi Raj says Star Trek Discovery for Michelle. Yes, actually, I should watch that one. Tom Luch. I'm not going to say that name right. Let me know. Love the podcast. From the
Netherlands. Hello. Yeah, and I'm also kind of curious how like charge time for EVs is going to change like the Great American Road Trip, because people are going to be like hanging out for like, you know, more than 10 or 15 minutes to like gas up and go to the bathroom or something. But that's to be seen. So I think we're pretty much done, aren't we?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thanks everybody for sticking around. This video comes to you via our video team, which is Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. The chat is what makes things interesting. You remember stuff that we forget, and just the show is better for it. And really, if you're like still listening to the credits here, you know that we live in a world of algorithms better than the average person, you tech enthusiast. So rate us 5 stars on iTunes, rate us 5 stars on Google Podcasts, tell a few friends about us, give us that in-person viral lift, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. We see you. Thank you.